Good evening, everyone, and good morning to everybody, the esteemed faculty of University of Silakanandra joining us from India. It's a very early morning. Good morning, Suprabhatam. Thank you. We welcome you all to University of Silakanandra's webinar. We have a wonderful topic today. The topic is changing trends in concerts, brought to you by the faculty of Carnatic Music Department at University of Silakanandra. University of Silakanandra is a non-profit 501c3 organization established in 2016 and running classes from 2017. We are in our 5th year. We have 5 departments at this time: Carnatic music, Kuchipudi dance, Bharatanatyam, Sanskrit, and Telugu. We offer certificate, diploma, and master's programs. The details are available on our website, universityofsilikanandra.org. Please have a look, and if you have interest, come join hands and let us create history together. We have a wonderful curriculum, wonderful programs, certificate, diploma, and masters in these departments. So world-renowned faculty. So take advantage of those things, spread the word, and let us make this very interactive today. It's going to be a lot of wonderful comments by our panelists. So without any further delay, I would like to open the floor for our faculty members of Carnatic Music Department, Dr. Shyamala Vinod, Dr. Saroja Garu, and Dr. Sriram Parasuram Garu. Thank you, sir. Please take it forward. And again, welcome all. And I want to recognize the presence of Dr. Pappu Venugopal Rao Garu, who is the chair of our Board of Trustees at University of Silakanandra. Thank you for joining us, sir. And several other faculty members from other departments are also here. We welcome you. Thank you. Before, it's too late, please let us get started.
Namaskaram. Namaste. Extremely happy to be part of this webinar, and my respects to pranams to Raju Garu, Pappu Garu, and RSJ ma'am, and all of you for being present in this general discussion about the change in Carnatic music presentation, Carnatic music concerts. Like they say that change is the only permanent thing. Change is the only thing which is guaranteed. And Carnatic music too is part of the civilizational process. So it is, though we call it a tradition, and though it is a sampradaya, which is rooted in the past, in Shastra, yet aspects of its evolution and growth and its manifestation in society changes quite a bit. We tend to have the notion that something traditional is unchanging, whereas that is that can be quite misleading, because tradition has within it, or very well established civilizational traditions have within it the ability and the mechanisms and strategies to change along with changing times. The core elements may remain the same, but the way it presents itself, the way it realizes and manifests in society, are always going to change, and do change, as we have seen, as we shall, along with my other panelists, we shall throw light upon how Carnatic music and its presentation has changed so much in the past, a few years historically, as well as in our lifetimes, and how accelerated it has become in the last 2 years, thanks to, the challenge of the pandemic that we are facing. Change happens in 2 ways, essentially. One is from within, where there is an organic process by which things change. The second way in which change happened is as a reaction to external factors. We shall examine both these aspects as to how change within Carnatic music presentation, that is Carnatic music concerts, has changed so much. For a person within the tradition, within the mainstream, the change is less noticeable. It's like how we don't see our children grow up because we see them daily and we are involved with their lives. But suddenly somebody from outside comes and says, hey, your son has grown up so much. So the change for an outsider is felt much more because he or she probably engages with it sparingly. For an insider, the change is part of his or her own change that is happening. So we shall examine the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts of how this change has happened in the past many years. Basically, we thought that we will, Dr. Shyamala and Dr. Saroja, we thought that we will have three different elements of examining this change so that it throws a little bit more light upon, the evolution of the Carnatic music or any traditional form of music. One is its response to technology. All things which are man-made respond to technology. The second thing is with respect to content. Content in terms of, so many aspects of, in terms of aspirations, expectations, changing trends, how the music itself adapts to become and to remain relevant and to remain in currency. And the third is with respect to the performing itself. Performance formats, performance changes, adaptation of the artist, adaptation of the ensemble to how it is being perceived, and the general milieu or the ambience or the infrastructure that builds Carnatic music concert in terms of whether it be the presentation or the stage or the audience or the sponsors or the, all these elements are also part of the change, or media. These are all parts of the Carnatic music reacts to and responds to these changes in the outside world. From the times of the patrons being the Rajas and the Maharajas and the princely and landlords and etc., zamindars, etc., 100 and 150 years back to today, where it is almost entirely through a direct contact with the listener and corporates. These are the patrons today. So the music has changed significantly as a response to these factors too. So we shall be dealing with all these aspects of the change and look at the gains and losses. All change essentially means that there are some pros and there are some cons. There are many ways in which the music has grown and has benefited and has changed in positive ways. And there are going to be significant ways in which they have lost many elements that used to be there. So the equanimity with which we are able to deal with the positives and the negatives characterizes a healthy assimilation of this change. And this is going to be a personal one. For each of us, this pros and cons may vary in terms of how we look at it, how we evaluate this change. So I call upon Dr. Shyamala Vinod ji, to set the ball rolling after this brief introduction, to set the ball rolling in terms of how going to one specific, which is the, since she's an expert in the concert voice, the way singing happens. Singing is the mainstay in Carnatic music, even though instruments have had a big say in how the music has progressed. but singing continues to remain the essential core aspect of Indian classical music itself. Very contrastingly to how Western classical music is. In Western classical music, it is the instruments which are at the fore, the symphony, the orchestra, the soloist. Not that the voice or the opera or the aria are any less, but the dominance of the voice and how the voice has reacted to change over the past many years, 100 years or so, is something that I am looking forward to have Dr. Shyamala Vinod speak about and enrich us in terms of her thoughts on. And here too, technology comes in, and she will speak about many of these aspects. Shyamala ji, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so
Looking
much,
forward. Yeah.
Sriram ji, and my pranams to my guru, Jayalakshmi Amma, Dr. Pappu Garu, and also Raju Garu. Thank you for involving me in this discussion. Very interesting topic. So before we start discussing the changes the Carnatic voice has been, facing, we have to understand the style and the voice. So the Carnatic style, when we talk about this style, is a very intense style, intense in terms of its demand on the vocal cords. Am I right, Sriramji? Isn't this a very
Absolutely.
intense
Absolutely.
style? Yes. So right from the
Yeah.
beginning, the expectation of the vocal cords, whether it is a pair of male vocal cords or a pair of female vocal cords, the demand is a very intense style, which is more compatible for the male vocal cords. It is more intense for anatomically, the male vocal cords. Also, the accompaniments like mridangam, all that, the tak shruti, it is mainly for the male voice. So it is against this that the female voices have also been coming to the scene and growing from early 20th century to this day. So now coming to the changes, we'll have to divide the period to look at the voice into actually three. Only then we can understand the change the voice has faced or gone through. So we can say pre-amplification, and then the period of advent of amplification, that immediate period of advent of amplification, and the present scenario. So when we talk about pre-amplification, we are talking about the days of, that is early 1910, 1920s. So the period of Coimbatore Tayi Amma, Bangalore Ratnamma, NC Vasantham Kokilam Amma, then MS Amma, all those people, the female voices. And the male voices this side here is KG Kittappa sir, Sri MK Tyagaraja sir, all those people. So before the amplification period, the demand on the voice was how powerful is the voice in order to be heard by the last person at the rear end. So without amplification, the attitude was throw out the voice. In fact, it was almost shouting enough to be heard with or without the accompaniments. With accompaniments, it was even more difficult for them, if you see. But one advantage was that most of these concerts, which were not so often like today, they were occasional, were in temples or religious places, where the hallways, the temple halls or hallways were acoustically compatible for the voice amplification. By itself, the build was such that the voice would get amplified. So there were both advantages and disadvantages. But very interesting point here is those days where the power of the voice along with the skill of the person became successful, the female voices, especially those of Coimbatore Tayi Amma, Bangalore Nagaratnam Amma, and also NC Vasantha Kokilam, they used to sing in A sharp, A. These were the maximum areas, that the pitch areas that they had used to sing concerts, whereas which became taboo later on. Singing in those shrutis were looked at as singing in singing light music, lighter application of voice. Why? Because An intense application of the voice, more related to the male voice, was expected of the style. So that is pre-amplification with its advantages and disadvantages. Voices died out faster because of that element of shouting, overstraining the vocal cords and vocal abuse. In spite of not singing too many times, too often, unlike today. There were only occasional concerts and they used to travel a lot to reach the spots, all that. In spite of it, the voice used to, not stay long on the stage. They used to, break out and die out faster. Now we are coming to the period of the advent of amplification. We can say roughly early 1940s, the trial amplification came in. But then also, there used to be only one microphone on stage. I don't know if you've ever got to see earlier, age-old photographs of Chembay sir, G.N. Balasubramaniam sir sitting on stage. There used to be one microphone and all of them sitting around and close, the violin, mridangam, all of them close. And then there is a collective output amplified. There was no individual track amplifying the instrumentalist separately and the singer separately. Even there was this element of power of the voice to be heard, to match the collective sound of the accompaniments, which was also detrimental for the voice. Then slowly you can see the scene, improving, where the radio comes into picture, the recordings come into picture. Even there, in the earlier All India radio studios, there was only one microphone. But of course, the studio effect was being, tested and improved upon, which was advantageous compared to the open stage with one microphone. Again, the voice used to be aberrated or abused throughout. But compared to the earlier pre-amplification period, it was better for the voices. That period was better for the voices, in spite of having single microphone. Then, of course, it has been only development, day-to-day improvement in technology, where we have come to a stage now that there is for a very long time now, since a long time now, we have individual mics for the accompaniments and for the singer, a more balanced and refined one for the singer. And to such an extent that there are singers today, this is not speculation, there are singers today who have a sound system or a console or a methodology where the entire presentation of the voice is auto-tuned on the spot. So the pitch aberration, non-alignment of pitch, which happens while singing very loudly, one's own voice drowning oneself, the pitch, you understand, Srina, what I'm talking about. So that is taken care of, which was a problem earlier, pre-amplification and the advent of amplification, early stages. The shouting or the power of the voice used to drown oneself from listening to one's own Shruti alignment. And then, of course, losing the voice. But now that is not the case. Voice is given primary importance. It is enhanced. The limitations of the voice, the shortcomings, everything is taken care of by technology. So if on the stage auto-tuning can be done, you can imagine the advantages of the technology on the voice inside a recording studio. A lot is done, much more than what the singer can present, skill-wise or voice-wise. So that is the scenario today. This is a huge change on the voice of the Carnatic scene, not an individual voice. On the Carnatic scene, this is a huge change, both advantages and disadvantages. It is advantages for the total output. Okay, so the singer is made to look bigger than his singing capacity. He can do this, but most of it is by the recording technology and the enhancement that it provides, the present day. There is track recording now. You can sit at any part of the world and send your voice to be part of a huge production. We are doing that, right, during COVID time. A lot of it is happening. But one point we have to understand, which is common then and now, is the compromise we make in the Carnatic scene on the voice, giving importance to science. Because if you see the earlier days also, there have been singers who actually lost the voice towards the end because of so many reasons, that that giving power to the voice and losing the quality of the voice and abuse. They still sang on stage, and there were people to listen to them in spite of the voice dying out. So the importance was given to the science. Our Manodharmam, or I mean, I'm not naming anybody. The approach, the content was given importance and not the voice. But this cannot happen in any other style of music, whether in the early 1920s or 1930s or even today. So this is a real problem then, and this aspect has not changed at all. So change other aspects, but not in this aspect. And what has happened is there were female voices which, just for one reason, to reach out to the audience, were singing in A sharp and A, of course. It was mostly shouting because of the need of the day. But now what has happened is, in between, for the sake of that intensity or aritham, most of the singers, female singers, were, and even some of them today also, were accompanying the accompaniments. They were capable, or their voice was capable at A. Not that singing in a high pitch is superior and singing in low pitch is inferior. Not at all. But there is a natural inherent vocal space for every pair of vocal cords. So if the singer, the female singer, is at A or A sharp, she has been preconditioned, her voice is preconditioned to go to G and G sharp, because the mridangam shruti cannot be raised or the violin cannot be raised. So this approach has not changed even now. At least, if not from the earlier period, from the medieval time to today, it is like that. But of course, there is a lot of awareness about voice and why we should not compromise on our natural pitch. So there are a lot of singers now singing in A and even A sharp. We do get accompaniments for them. So it is like that. So that particular approach is only there in our system, very sadly. If you take Hindustani classical music or any other style of classical music, the singer gets to sing in her or his pitch, and they do not compromise on the accompaniments, whatever the change, the technology or anything has brought in. So that this particular aspect has not changed. Still, there is a taboo because that kind of a weight, heaviness is expected. As I told you, you all will agree with me, I'm sure, that this is a male voice compatible style. And this is what is expected from a female vocal cords, which is very difficult because in the construction of the vocal system, they are totally different. The vocal cords of male and vocal cords of female. So that is one aspect which has not totally changed. Change has not happened there. And of course, this duet singing, duo singing on the stage, the brothers, the Sulamangalam sisters, Bombay sisters, and now we have Ranjini, Gayatri, Trichur brothers, Maladi brothers, so many of them. Here what happens, when the pre-amplification period, there wasn't much that could be done in order to hide the limitations of a particular singer. Just like now, even then, the singers used to help each other to overcome their individual shortcomings and whatever. But now in the period of amplification, it is all the more seen that, like for example, one particular female singer, her lower octave, whether with amplification or without amplification, is not heard at all. So that particular singer does not attempt the lower octave at all. She takes over only the higher octaves, whether it is an alapna or whatever. The kriti or the composition per se, it is very well prepared and managed. But when it comes to extemporization, manodharma, there is this problem of the individual voice not doing 100% justice. They are always complementing each other, covering up each other. I'm not against duet singing, but I'm just telling you what it is. And to an extent now, in amplification, they are having their individual balancing of voice and, the refinement that can be done by technology. This is the change, which was not there earlier when two people were on stage singing. So these are the general, glaring changes. Some aspects have not changed, the other changes. So that's about it.
Thank you, Shamlaji, very much. It's so eye-opening. In very beautiful, succinct words, you have presented the impact of technology and how the voice has changed, how the approach to voice has changed. 3, 4 things which she brought out, which I will reiterate. One is that the aesthetics of the Carnatic system is determined and dominated by the male voice. Whether you like it or no, whether you are a feminist or a misogynist, doesn't matter. This is how it has been. We cannot go back and change it. That is one thing. The second is that how the aesthetics of the voice itself, in terms of powerful, full-throated singing of, say, pre-1930s, and how to the present days, how the aesthetics of the voice itself in terms of crooning, you coming close to the microphone and able to, convey your music. So that aesthetics has changed, you know. She also spoke about the integrity, change in integrity. Today, you can vary and manipulate and even distort and enhance your abilities, correct? Technology allows you to do that cheating. Whereas, so there is a change in integrity. We have to make a note of it. If she says, and which I also am aware of people using technology to cover up or to change or to auto-tune. Auto-tune is this, post-production technique on there are separate plugins or separate modules which allow you to, suppose you are singing a raga and a note of yours goes flat because of lack of sadhana or lack of ability. This auto-tune the mechanism will tune it correctly and give it to you. So what you are listening to is a lie. If I were to put it bluntly, is a lie. So there is a compromise on integrity. So if the voice doesn't have that natural resonance, the idea of adding reverb or delay are post-production techniques in terms of amplification, where even if your voice is not very resonant or you have not worked towards resonance, all of this requires sadhana. An artist like M.D. Ramanathan or M.S. Subbulakshmi, they have worked so hard on their voice intuitively. This may not be documented or archived, we may not be aware, but if you know them closely, you will see how a Kalyan Raman sir or Alatur, they have worked very constantly on this nada, on the the ghanam of the voice, the gatram of the voice, the steadiness of the voice, all these aspects. Today, technology allows you to kind of take a shortcut, right? So it can compensate. If you don't have a resonant voice, you can still project as if you do, unless you hear them in a chamber concert where it is not amplified. Then you will understand, oh, this person's voice is not so strong as I thought it was, because you've heard on recordings and amplified concerts. So that's also important in terms of the change with respect to integrity. She also talked about how the music itself could have changed and has changed because of the amplification. If I may just take a little bit in terms of even the clarity of gamakas, which are much easier perceived today because of amplifications. Like she said, the Carnatic music system for the voice is almost bordering on an abuse of the voice. The aritham and the various aspects that are expected of you are not actually natural to the process of singing in a healthy way. An Ananda Bhairavi or a Dhanyasi or a Kamboji expects that you will distort the voice in so many places. And then you say, aha, this sounds like Padegalatta traditional Ananda Bhairavi or chaste. We have all these words like chaste.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
we
go
add
ahead.
one point,
Go ahead.
And one other aspect is the abundance of Sahityam. Sometimes is an impediment in terms of articulation while the melody is in movement, because the jaw is brought in.
Absolutely.
For articulation, we need the jaw, but the jaw is actually also used to bring in the rhythm, which is wrong, which is happening in our system because of the
Yeah.
abundance of Sahitya. Thank you. I just wanted to
That's why
mention.
Carnatic music has, like Shyamalaji pointed out, we have learned to misuse the voice so as to meet the demands of the aesthetics and the Sahitya, for example. We misuse it because of that. This is something very peculiar to Carnatic music aesthetic. Like Shyamalaji said, it is the only system which is inimical to the voice. It is not good for you if you practice too much or if you sing too much. That's the reason why artists of older times used to limit the number of concerts. Whereas today, because of the expansion of the audience base and format base and people listening to it in different media, many of the very leading artists are, their voices go for a toss by the time you're 50 and 60. You are just going on the steam of your Jnanam and your Vidvat. The voice is gone. I will not take names, but there are so many artists who from their 40s and 50s itself, you see that the voice has taken a big beating because of this, because of the number of concerts. That's also change. That has affected the voice in a big way. Not enough gap between concerts. So in the music season, for example, in the typical December music season, last December of 2020 has been a very healthy year for musicians. You know why? Because the December season didn't happen. Because you're giving 25, 30 concerts in a month, which if you have common sense, you know that this is not to be done. And our concerts are very strenuous. 2.5 hours of singing constantly, all these ragas with aritham, the voice has no time to recover. And because it doesn't recover, it puts additional strain and the individual tries to cover up and find ways and means of dealing with it, which introduces other issues in terms of misuse. So it's very wonderful to see that how the number of concerts has also taken a big toll on the voice. If I may just add to what Shyamala, I hope she agrees with that. And the amount of travel, like she said.
100%.
Yeah, the amount of travel, you are landing in Australia in the morning and then evening you have a concert. There is no time for the hydration of the voice and for your jet lag, all of you for you to recover from all that. And then you're traveling 5 hours, 6 hours by car from Los Angeles to Dallas or whatever it is. And all these things have affected, for the individual artist, it has been a very big challenge in terms of. But one thing I may add that the genius of certain Margadarshis like M.L. Vasantakumari, M.S. Subbalakshmi among the female singers is how they used their exceptional intelligence and developed a style so as to subvert the male aesthetic.
Yes.
If you see, M.S. Amma sang till she was 80 and 90. So too MLV Amma sang till the end of her life. Brinda Amma sang till she was 80. There was no change.
Yeah, not much.
Yes. They the MLV and MS, they continued to sing in A and A sharp, A at least, till very late. So
Yes.
there are ways in which individuals have coped with this change and have adapted to the change. And MS Amma appears at a cusp or at a transition period between pre-amplification and post-amplification. And how wonderfully she was able to change herself, her style, her aesthetics, her approach. She appears to be a demure Mirabai kind of a devotional person. But behind all that, without taking away from that, was an exceptional intelligence as to how one can respond to this change. So it's we have to learn from them as to how the artist has responded.
Their method of singing or voice production was voice friendly.
Yes. And even today, she remains, MLV Amma and MS Amma remain a beacon of guidance, Margadarshi for a lot of young singers. How to maintain the voice, despite changing things, changing trends. I think MS Amma was one of the best to cope with amplification.
Yes.
She coped with that so beautifully it still seems as if you are hearing something which is not amplified or not processed. It seems very, very natural.
That
So
way,
there is,
we should
yeah,
also mention, we can never go without mentioning Sri Balamurali Krishna.
absolutely, absolutely. But I think Balamurali Krishna comes at a later stage when he
Much, yeah,
adapted his entire style to
yes,
the microphone
yeah,
and
yeah.
amplification. His entire style. And we have Pappu Garu here, who's a Shishya of Sri Balamurali Krishna. So the entire style of your voice, how you produce. In fact, in one interview, he said that many people say my singing is like light music, like Shyamalaji said. If it is little high and if it is little sweet and soft, the tendency is for people to reject it as not having enough Aritam, not having enough Karnataka, that Gatram, you know. Whereas he proved that change of aesthetic into the lighter, softer, sweeter mode is also possible. So he was also a path breaker in terms of responding to the change. He was a change maker himself. And, we have to place, like Shyamalaji said, especially with respect to the voice, how he adapted and came up with a style, a personal style, as a response to the changes. And it was a time where he and many other classical singers were also singing film music, right? So we have G.N. Balasubramaniam, M.S. Amma, S.G. Kittappa, or MLV Amma, or D.K. Patamal Amma also, who were also very popular in films. So that requirement of the voice, and then still being able to establish themselves as mainstream, very powerful Carnatic musicians was a great achievement in terms of how they managed to bridge that change from film to Carnatic, because the requirements are slightly different for the voice. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Shyam. Without me having taken up the role of a moderator, I have taken it up. I'm sorry. So
No,
I'm
it was
just
good.
I just summarized.
You brought in a lot of the aspects of voice of individual singers. So it
Yeah,
really helped because I was talking about the general changes. So you
general
brought in
changes.
this to make it, to reiterate that. It's very, very good,
Yeah,
very good.
yeah.
Because I
And
really
the
wished.
the she also,
Yes, please go on, Ji.
yeah, Shyamalaji was also spoke about the advent of duet voices as a response to the changing scenario, as to how from Alatur brothers on to Sulamangalam sisters and Radha Jayalakshmi and Bombay sisters, and later on, of course, Hyderabad brothers, Malladi brothers, and Ranjani Gayatri, and all the plethora and growth of duets. Today, there are so many duets. There are at least 20, 30 leading duet singers. This also is a change. And this is in response. And especially this change is felt, there are more female duets than
Yes,
male duets. One of the earliest, which is Sulamangalam and Radha Jayalakshmi, probably it was a response to the fact that this system is very strenuous on a single voice. And
exactly,
hence, let
exactly.
us manage to have a longer career by balancing out and having two people sing. I still make fun of one of the leading Carnatic music duet musicians of today, female duets, and I tell that I cannot accept you as a legitimate and top singer because you sing a duet. You have to, because to hold a kriti on your own, to hold Swara Prastara and Neraval in higher octaves of a raga, say like Kamboji, by oneself is very challenging, is very daunting. Even to a very seasoned artist, you'll have to pray before you start singing Kamboji, because
In
the
particular,
high
the voice,
octaves,
it is
yeah, especially
advantageous
the high
in
octaves, the throw
particular
which
of
is
the voice.
expected.
Yes, yes,
Yes. Yeah. So it was a response to, it was a change that has happened. It is a change that has happened. And the fact that today there are so many concerts, and if the voice of one person is not at top form, the other voice will make up for it. So these are all the reasons why we have so many duets today,
yes,
right? We have so many people singing duets. And
yes.
even males are combining in ways.
Yeah,
Even independent singers, once in a while, are combining themselves. Like for
Yes, yes.
example, Abhishek Raghuram will sing with Konakudi Balamurli Krishna, or where the styles are matching and the minds match. Not that they are a permanent duet fixture, but the format of having two male voices sing not necessarily the same way, but as providing relief to each other. Very wonderful, Shyamlaji. Insights about the voice and the response to change.
Thank you.
We will
Thank
now
you.
move to the
Very good
second aspect,
description.
which is, thank you. We will now move to the second aspect, which is also very significant in terms of the content and the format. How changes in terms of expectations, changes in terms of the differing audience mindsets, change in terms of a much wider gamut of audience that you are addressing here, that a singer is addressing today. The expectations are very different, because earlier you used to sing for 100 people, 500 people in Mylapore who were kind of uniform in their response to what they expected out of the music. Today you are singing to very varied and very differing expectations, especially online, etc. That your music is being consumed by a very wide variety of people. Somebody in Australia, somebody, a Britisher in UK who does not know much about Carnatic music, but still is interested to know. So you are dealing with expectations which are very, very different from how it was 60, 70 years back. So content has had to change. Format has had to change. So I will invite Saroja Garu to throw light upon some of these aspects of change in terms of content and formats. Formats, I mean, how even the whole concert ensemble, what is the role that the violin or the mridangam, or what is the dominance, and how today things like fusion, where there are drum sets and keyboards and all that, is a response to expectations, right? So Saroja ji will speak a little bit about the repertoire, the content, and the changes that have happened in concert presentation today.
Namaste all. First of all, I'm
Namaste.
very glad to be part of this wonderful session and to be along with such illustrious people like Shyamla ji and Sri Ram ji. My namaste to Papu sir, RSJ ma'am, Raju Garu, and all other respected members here. So it was a great beginning. So a lot of insightful things have been already discussed by Shyamla ji and Sri Ram sir regarding the use of voice, the preservation of voice, the quality of the voice. So voice related things, and of course, little bit of the impact of technology too, like how it was in yesteryears and how it is today. And both, as they said, pros and cons, like how it is advantageous in terms of giving great quality, but how it is, I don't say disadvantageous, but a kind of a disadvantage in terms of maybe development of the artist if they ignore the quality aspect of the voice or even the singing. Because so I also feel to kind of begin with the different venues of the concerts, how they have also kept changing. So I have, like, we have all seen that many years ago, maybe or 1 century ago, like how temples used to be the venues for concerts, and the audience used to be not much of a public around in the society, but everything, the concerts were offered to the Lord in the temples. Maybe that was one time the priority. So then how the content of the concerts would be, everything is centered around kind of ritualistic singing, prabandha, this and that. Then from there, when the concerts moved on to the kings and the courts and the courtiers, then how the content, I'm talking about the items chosen to present the content in the sense of what are the things that musicians use it to present. So in the court, then slowly the focus shifted from a kind of this ritualistic singing to certain items in praise of the king to make the king feel good about. And then later on, when the concerts totally entered into the public realm, like sabhas and all, then how the format slightly changed, how more variety crept in slowly and slowly. So initially, when maybe the number of kritis kind of items were less, pallavis used to dominate. Then there has always been a competition on several aspects, like what different ragas, what different talas, challenges. So every time when we talk about the concerts, again, I always think about two aspects, the performance aspect and the audience aspect. As Sriram sir also kind of mentioned, expectations of the audience. So when people used to perform in the courts, even the entire prestige of the kingdom used to be in the hands of the performers. Like there used to be challenges. If this performer wins over, it is like you are surrendering the kingdom to the other kingdom. So it used to be such a scenario earlier. So we have heard of Shyama Shastri Garu and all singing different pallavis in complex tala, Sharabhanandana tala pallavi, and then and there creating kind of new ragas which have not been heard by maybe by the other opponents. So a competitive atmosphere. So when in a competitive atmosphere, what kind of um, emotions are being catered to the audience? So audience side, every time when in a competitive atmosphere, is there a real pleasure to the audience? I always think when a very complex pallavi is presented, how much would be received by the audience? So again, in the audience, there are categories like the audience who want to just immerse in the singing. There are audience who wants to sway their heads, swing and dance to the singing. Who would expect to do that? There are audience who want to kind of keep their straight back and kind of understand all the complexities of pallavis and all. So in this scenario, every time the trend, the changes have been following all these aspects. So when you are performing for a small congregation in a temple, you will be definitely taking up bhajan kind of a songs where people want to sway their heads and also immerse in the devotion. So as Yamala ji said, the language has and the Sahitya has been playing the major role, particularly in Carnatic music. And actually, there has also been a criticism on the entire system itself that, oh, Carnatic music is too much dominant of form, musical form. And that's why it is being, the Manodharma aspect is being not totally taken full-fledged. But I don't kind of I don't say right or wrong anytime, but see, when the system itself is like that, a system is designed to suit certain requirements, the purpose of the system also might be different. So if we want to listen to Manodharma in a Kriti also, why don't we listen to the Manodharma of the presenter, like where what Gamaka has been presented, even if it's the same Kriti, Endaru Mahanubhavulu, different musicians sing. Once I was really blown away by a performer singing Endaru Mahanubhavulu. Till then, I used to listen always Endaru Mahanubhavulu in a group singing in Tyagaraja Utsavams only. But once I happened to listen to one of the great musicians on the stage who has been singing Endro Mahanubhavulu in a solo. That kind of Manodharma, subtle things that he added here and there throughout. Also giving bhavam to the composition. That was like a mind-blowing Endro Mahanubhavulu. Then I realized how can you say that there is no Manodharmam in even Endro Mahanubhavulu? It may be a given format, a structured composition, where using the same swaram and same sahityam, but still each and every word swaram comes out with the manodharmam of the performer only. So all these actually have been playing a very huge role in the changing trends in Carnatic music. And as Sriram said today, the concerts have been catered to global audience when concerts became online, right? So we don't know who are all going to listen to. If it's a recorded concert, who might listen? So that is why change in different language compositions like Anabhang and Purandaradasa composition and all the languages, all these have been playing a very major role in today's concerts also. And I also like, of course, I think Sriram sir is going to take up another section of the uh, discussion, which is kind of a philosophy behind these concerts and all. Actually, I feel like to talk about that at this point of time, seeing that what is the purpose of a concert? Why there should have, why should we listen to any concert? So what is it to the performer? What is it to the audience? I feel that it's actually a holistic aspect where we are trying to build up a relationship among all ourselves, whether it is the performers or the audience. So it's a kind of building up a relationship to the art and the society. So it is actually a very broad perspective. When we talk about the purpose, why should there be any concerts? Whether now I talk about any art for that matter, whether it is dance or music or any kind of music. So we always try to connect ourselves with the society in different ways, and here art plays a very major role. So when concerts happen, a kind of relationship, very beautiful relationship is built in between the artist and the audience and the ambience also. Something magical happens, and when it happens with music, it's so more magical because it's just auditory. Of course, there is also important of visual, like people like to see the gestures of the singer, how they are singing, how they are complementing each other, the accompanist and all. So, but overall, what is the purpose is that a very beautiful relationship that is a kind of cannot be expressed in words kind of relationship is built in, which actually contributes to the harmony in the society, in the community, in the entire world. So I have, when once I have read when I was reading the biography of Mysore Vasudevacharya, I have read that when he composed music for the dance dramas of Srimati Rukmini Devi, and once when they presented it, I think Rajagopalacharya, Sri Rajaji, when he witnessed the performance, he said, "You both have built a peerless temple for Lord Rama." So that is the purpose of the concert. We like just with the music and the dance, he could visualize the entire temple being built up there. So this is a kind of a intent, the real purpose of any art. So in this scenario, when the interests of people have been changing, how different, I always feel like very much surprised about how the artists really struggle to address all the requirements of the audience. Like when they see the audience are kind of getting bored looking at the pulse, then they suddenly change into a different kind of a kriti, which is a fast tempo. So the tempo of the kritis, all these play a very, very major role. Actually, if I get a chance to just also sing something, I actually like to
Please
say
do,
that.
please do.
So earlier, I always feel that earlier when Brindamma Muktama used to sing, Padams and Javali kind of compositions used to be very dominant in the concerts, which somehow are not so much heard today. Because
Not heard at all. Let us not mince words. Not heard at all.
Because I have understood that Padam singing maybe is like more difficult than singing a Pallavi because it has its own style. If we consider Brindamma Muktama style as a kind of an authentic style to present a very structure of a Padam, that's like a so difficult style. You require at least 1 month to at least learn one Padam in its proper structure, in it, the flow of the raga, and even the construction of the tala. It's a very typical construction, the Padam. So when in a concert today, when you sing a Padam like maybe If we take ragas like Nadanama Kriya, Karuna Jalade Dasharathe Kamaniya Nana Suguna Nidhe. People would love to listen to this Karuna Jalade because of the Sahityam, also because of the tempo, which is medium tempo. But when I heard the Padam, Payyeda Paijeri Paimida Jeri Paimida Payyada Paijeri Pavalinti Samiti, that itself takes so much of duration. So many different sangatis from what we listen to in Karuna Jalade, Dasharade, or other Ramadasa popular kirtanas. So I wonder whether today's audience, do they have this patience to listen to these kind of slow tempo and a different kind of compositions? It's not putting down the kind of the quality of the audience, but we can definitely see a change where people want something quick. They would like, we have been seeing that the audience want maybe two kritis in 10 minutes rather than singing elaborative alapana in 10 minutes. So all these are the essential things that artists have been keeping in mind, and they have been contributing to the changing in trends. And also today, lot of variety, gimmicks, like you have to do a lot of complex things to attract the audience so that they would say, wow, wow, what a great artist he is. If you sing maybe a Pallavi, with performing two different talas in two different hands, and then doing ragamalikas, and then doing maybe grahavedams all at one go, then you are like, what a beautiful performance and how great an artist he is, rather than when one sings a padam like Payyada. So if I sing like something like Vrindavana Lola Govinda Aravinda Nayana Vrindavana Lola Govinda Aravinda Nayana Vrindavana Lola Govinda Aravinda Nayana Lola Govinda Padani Sani Gani Sani Dani Sani Da Padani Sa Sani Sari Gari Sani Dani Da Da Gari Re Sani Dani Sa Dani Gari Da Dani Re Sari Ni Re Sani Da Padani Sa Ni Sari Gama Gari Sani Gari Sani Da Pama Padani Sa Nida pamaga nida pamaga da pamaga ri gama padani sa nida nida da ga ri sa nida ni sa ni ga ri sa ni sa ni da pama padani sa nida pama gama pada sa nida pamaga ri padani sa ri gama ga ri sa da ni sa nida pamaga nida pamaga ri sa ri gama pa sa ri gama ga ri sa ni sa ri ga ri sa nida padani sa so a talam, two talas in two hands that match the count, then performing Ragamalika, then using the same ragas from Kalyani as a Grahabedam. If I can kind of manage this for a matter of 20 minutes or so, then it's like a wow, great element. And then you are kind of looked for again and again. So, but this is the kind, I feel that this is today's kind of a competitive mode, whereas Payada kind of like blissful singing where you are immersed in the contours of the raga, each and every note, it's like too difficult to maintain that Nadanama Kriya than singing this kind of Karuna Jalade for sure. I think Sriram sir would definitely agree, and Shamla madam and all this. So these are all the factors I feel are really the changing trends. And now I
Absolutely.
give it to Sriram sir.
Yes. It was so brilliant the way you sang the Avadhana Pallavi way of singing with two talas and the Graha Beda. You did it so beautifully. Thank you so much for that relief. Because talking can get boring after some
Thank
time.
you, thank you.
The 3 or 4 things which she mentioned, that is the change in terms of the audience seeking more of thrill rather than Saukhya. Saukhyam or Rasikatvam is slightly different, and that Rasikatvam presupposes a certain jnanam. In Carnatic music and Hindustani music, the Rasika is not just somebody who lends his ears, who has been lending his or her ears and whose mind also knows what is the difference between a Yadukula Kamboji and a Kamboji, correct? So the jnanam is presupposed. You are not a Rasika unless you know a little bit about the subject. It is not only for the senses, it is for the mind and intellect also. That is why it's a knowledge system. It's a Shastra. Now, when you are addressing big audiences and audiences which may not be very familiar with Carnatic music over a period of time, you have to address to their basic instincts, which is thrill. Thrill is a basic instinct. So speed dazzles, in whether it be in a race car driver or whether it be in a dance movement or whether it be music. It is the speed which thrills. And this is appreciable by everybody. You don't need to know Nadanama Kriya to understand thrill. Whereas to enjoy Payada Paimida, you need to know Nadanama Kriya. You need to know the nuances of the gamakas and that the voice and the breath and everything. So the change is that when we are reaching out to bigger and more larger audiences and varied audiences, the content is changing. In fact, Sabha secretaries will come and tell you before the concert, sir, don't sing all these slow Dikshtar Kritis. Sing Kurai Ondrum Ille kind of compositions. Because he's scared, he wants his audience, the people, as it is, numbers are less in the Sabha halls. So he wants to make sure that they don't get up and go. Because he's dependent on the sponsor. The sponsor is going to only sponsor a concert which has numbers. Because he's looking at it as a promotional thing. So today it is a numbers game, which is determining what is being presented and how it is being presented. The very intelligent and very savvy artists respond to this change, right? So the very successful artists of today are responding to the change that I need to present more complex and thrill-seeking. I need to fulfill this thrill-seeking aspect of every listener. Only then they are going to come to my concert. So that change in terms of what you choose to sing in a concert has undergone a sea change. And like she said, because it is being consumed by different people and different diaspora. For example, if I may speak about, the American audience, the US audience, which has grown for Carnatic music over the past 20, 30 years, it is also that the listener there is seeking for identity. They feel that a Kannadiga will feel a sense of re-establishment of identity if he gets to listen to a Purandaradasa composition, correct? Or a Tamil fellow who works in Google, or his parents who are there will go to a concert and will enjoy a concert more if there are a lot of Tamil kritis. So the regionalization, the linguistic divides are all being catered to by the content of. So today, if you want to be successful in a US tour, concert tour, you have to have all this within your repertoire. Like the quiver of arrows that a great archer will have different kinds of astras, right? Like that, today the concert artist has to have much a bigger number of kritis and languages that he or she knows. Like look at the sterling example. I'm not looking down upon this. I'm just observing. Look at what M.S. Samma did. M.S. Subbulakshmi, the great M.S. Subbulakshmi, decided that this music is, I have to reach out to the entire India and not just Tamil Nadu and not just South India. That is when she brought in Meera Bhajans, etc. into, Kabir and everything into the repertoire. Even though she didn't know the language, but she knew that this will project her. She and her husband Sadashivam were very clear that they wanted to take this to pan India. And hence, that is why a Gandhiji or a Nehru will face. If you are singing Tyagaraja Kritis, how will Mahatma Gandhi relate to it? So the change is that new repertoire comes in. Today people are singing abhangs not because they love abhangs, because the Nama Sankirtana has grown in its appeal. The last 10, 15, 20 years, the Nama Sankirtana and the kind of verve and religious fervor that it evokes in the listener. People are trying to find themselves in that religious fervor. So the Nama Sankirtana, that is Bhajana Sampradaya, this has started growing in the last 20 years, and hence the Carnatic musician also wants a piece of that cake. So he's also including such upbeat and very insistent abhang kind of formats. It's not that the abhang compositions are expressing anything new. It is just that format of the composition is more attractive today. So the content is changing in response to reaching, and the common denominator. If we had 500 people, you could gauge that what is the level of the audience. Like Saroja ji said, what level are they at? Whether they are within 2 songs, you'll know where their heads are shaking. Aha, jnana mirka, whether there is jnana or whether this is a common audience. Today, when we are singing for a worldwide audience, you don't have that facility. So you are going to play very safe. And that is the reason why the rise of lighter compositions, which are appealing to everybody. The common denominator of the listener has changed, because the common denominator now is the person who knows very little about the music. So if you are going to sing Yadukula Kamboji and Kedara Gaula and all these heavy ragas, he is going to switch off his computer and go to the next program, because on YouTube and on all these media, and there are thousands of concerts being streamed, correct? So he has a choice. Previously, there was no choice. If there is a Madhura Somu concert, that is the only concert that the Rasika will get to listen the whole month. One concert in a month. Whereas today, you can listen to 20 concerts in a day. So the listener has to be kept engaged. So the listener is the master. The artist has become the slave, if I may say so. Whereas previously, 50 years back, 60 years back, the listener had to listen to whatever the artist chose to present. The power equation has changed.
You being a Carnatic and Hindustani exponent, you need to talk about Jugalbandis also. Please throw some light on that.
Jugalbandi also is a reaction. Yeah, Jugalbandi is also a reaction or a response to providing variety. Today, nobody wants to, today everybody wants variety. The consuming audience, the Rasikas want variety. That is the reason why this Jugalbandi provides that back and forth of a Hindustani aesthetic and a Carnatic aesthetic. So and mind you, these Jugalbandis are generally preferred by South Indians, not by the North Indians. I'm observing that the Carnatic music audience is very fidgety and very fickle. It's a quality. I'm not looking down upon it. It's the changing trend. They want things to change. Bore. You are very bored of the same ragas. Let us have a different perspective of the same. So the Jugalbandi provides you with that variety. So a Bhimsen Joshi and a Balamurali Krishna also provides a visual treat. Here is Bhimsen Joshi, his imposing personality, very majestic. And here is this kind of very lively, almost playboyish Bala Murali Krishna sir. With all respect, I'm using these words because Bala Murali Krishna sir was very, very charismatic. So it provided that personalities, two personalities, and hence this is also part of the enjoyment for the listener or the viewer. Today, a lot of music is being watched, not heard. Correct? So that also makes changes. Today, the sari which the main singer is wearing and the jewelry that she is wearing is as important as the music that she sings. A lot of the discussion after many concerts is what kind of, oh, this sari she wore in last year in this sabha. Why is she repeating the sari? Anyway, I'm just giving for a lighter moment. And a serious reflection is also, if I may go back to Dr. Shyamala's point about it being male dominated, is that today the tables have turned. It is female dominated in many ways. Recently, 2 years back, for Navaratri festival, because it has become a visual medium. The visual medium prefers, let me be very honest about it. It has no other layers, but the visual medium prefers the female artists. Let us be very open and frank about the idea that this is a consumption mode. Let us be very objective about that. So 2 years back, when Vijay TV was presenting a 9-day Navaratri festival, and they wanted to celebrate. All 9 were female artists. So I called up the producer and said, don't we know to sing Devi Kritis and Navagraha Kritis and Navavarna Kritis? We know. But he said, sir, the TRPs are only for females, sir. This is the reflection. This I have to take into consideration. I cannot be blind to this. Same thing happened when I noticed that the Hindu, I will take the names because I have nothing to hide here. During the December season, in the Friday review section, 9 out of 10 photographs of the concerts of artists used to be female. Whether the concert was good or whatever, the prominence was for the visual. Who wants to look at my face or somebody else's male face? People want to look at female faces. The readership goes. So he is also governed by readership. His pressures of generating more selling copies is his real pressure. Correct? So today, Shyamala ji, if I may say so, justice
May
is
I
being
come
served.
in, please? May I come
Yeah,
in,
please go ahead. Please come in.
When I said I was not talking about the number of male singers and the number of female singers, what I meant was the style is
Yeah.
male voice
Both are
oriented.
true.
That is
Yeah.
what I
No, I'm exactly. But what I'm saying
I
is that
understood what you are saying too. Yeah.
it was that way, and there were more male singers because there were restrictions on what MS Amma was again a path breaker because she defined that a woman can be put on stage and still maintain her honor. Those were different times because women were not allowed to be on stage so much, right? So it is important to note that now things have changed, and hence the concert has changed.
So
I will tell you this very simple, again, a very beautiful but very true example, and it can be disturbing. A great artist from another city came to Chennai and wanted a tambura and tambura artist to play. I don't know if I should mention this, but anyway, I will mention. So this is a very leading artist, very, very popular artist. So I sent one of my students with the tambura, and she has been a student of mine, and he was very clear it has to be a female. Okay, he didn't want a male tambura player, right? He had the audacity to tell me that, sir, konjam, more attractive student you will have to send. So I'm just telling you the bare fact. This has happened. So he realizes that the stage and its visual feel is something which will go towards, contribute towards his concert being more successful. We have to recognize these facts that the visual medium has taken over. Today people are very careful about what they wear in a concert, the artists, how they present themselves. There are artists who will tell their accompanists to come in coordinated kurta colors. Do you know that? Because it is being recognized that this is being beamed all over the world and it's a visual medium. So the concert and the music of it takes a slightly backseat, and the visual presentation. அவர் வந்து மூஞ்சிய சிரிக்கிறதே இல்லை பாடுறச்ச. These comments I've heard from people say, you are very serious on stage. You have to keep smiling and you have to keep joking. So the concert is, the musical element is taking a backseat and the visual element is taking more prominence. This is the fact that I observe has changed. Let us not judge it. I'm not evaluating this, but this is a fact which we have to note. And because of media exerts pressure on all fields. We see it happening all over the place, in politics, in dance, in science also, right? So we have that media exerts the pressure on all streams of human life, and music, Carnatic music concerts are also part of that. Let us not be blind to that fact that media exerts that pressure. And today, Twitter and FB and all these, today many of the younger artists are so busy catering to this media because they know that their survival is dependent upon that. There are so many young artists who are fashioning, who write their own critics on FB. Reviews, concert reviews, they are publishing their own because they know that they have to generate, unless on FB or Insta, if you are not there every week, they are afraid that you'll get forgotten. So the music takes a back seat. Instead of saying, I will sit at home and practice my natai a little bit more, the artist decides that, no, I will try to make my visual presence a little more effective. So these are changes. And it is having an effect on the music also. And there is nothing wrong. I'm just observing, these changes. The sabhas, like the corporates sponsorship, unless the sponsorship is there, you don't have a concert, correct? Let us also be very clear. So the corporates want more numbers, so it has become a number game. He looks at your FB and sees how many likes you have, how many followers you have. That's his job. The promotional manager who sanctions funding for a concert is only going to look there because he doesn't know whether you sing a nice todi or a mediocre todi, right? So he's only going as numbers. So the number game, Carnatic music, is starting to respond to the number game. And that will apparently change things. I'm not saying, so this is all part of the changes. Yeah, Saroja ji wanted to say something.
No, I do agree with the media, the TRP ratings and their preferences, but actually giving credit to a lot of the audience. Like, it's not always just the visual treat that they're preferring. Like you said, who will look at me? No, they
not always. I'm just saying that is also a factor today.
No, all the male artists, they have been heard, they have been wanted by lakhs.
But I'm also good looking, Saroja ji.
No, you
I'm also
just
good looking.
That.
People can choose.
No,
I presented you two case studies.
Definitely, the visual.
No, not only the visual. I am saying the visual has, the visual has started playing a very significant role.
Definitely significant role, but
you also need to sing well.
Always support the audience also, perspective also, that there have been really good number of audience who are really, like, today we have thematic concerts also going up more and more, like only compositions of a particular composer to promote the compositions, to bring them to the front, so even those have been very well supported by the audience. So
absolutely,
there are always both the sides, as you rightly said. There are all categories of people.
Like I said, I'm not judging anything. I'm just saying that the visual medium and has started impacting in a big way. And even the thematic concerts are not as sanctimonious as you. It is because people are bored with the format of the concert. And hence, if you start holding thematic concerts every day, then they'll get bored of that also. So boredom sets in a little bit faster today because of the number of concerts. Boredom sets in faster. So that artist, the concert giver, the artist has to innovate. Constantly they have to innovate. It is not like MD Ramanathan or somebody who perfect the musical system throughout their lives. No. Today, the presenter, if he has to survive and survive well, has to be constantly innovating, coming up with new ways to present the same thing. You understand? So a thematic concert. So many times it is the artist who gives the format to the sabha. I myself have done it many times. I will say, I will present a concert based on this theme.
Yes.
Whereas you will not hear these thematic concert things, say 20, 30 years back. You know, even though it was possible, but today the need for variety, the need for innovation is much higher.
And also when we discuss,
That is my honest opinion. Yeah.
the duet perspective, I do agree that in duets there is a lot of scope to balance the artist's caliber also, but I have also been observing that it's a wonderful and challenging aspect, like how the two different artists, definitely they are two
Yes.
different individual artists. So how their minds go together in presenting the same, like to continue with the
Absolutely.
same flow of the composition. See, I sometimes feel that it is more advantageous to sing a solo concert than to be part of a duet concert, because in solo you are so free, not bothered about the other, like there is nobody else that you have to be very much mindful of. But in a duet,
Correct.
each and every step has to be so well coordinated, without which it may be turned to be totally disastrous also.
Yeah, absolutely.
this
No, the
also
pros and cons.
is-
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. As you also already mentioned the other side, I am talking about this side. That's all.
Yeah, correct. But
And-
the idea
and, yeah.
of a varied sound, you know, why there are so many violin duets? Because to hold a violin solo is very, very difficult. I'm talking from my personal experience.
Definitely.
You know, even great artists violinists have finally gone down to duets. There are very few violin soloists, so to speak. You know, whether it be Lalgudi Jayaraman sir or T.N. Krishnan sir or MSG sir, all of them, you know, Dwaram was probably the only real soloist in that sense, because the duets give a larger sound. Two violins sound bigger than a single violin, correct? And
Yes.
like what they call Naranjanadam. Niranjanadam in Tamil means it's a filled sound. So the filling of sound,
Perfect.
because the modern mind is not able to deal with silence much, I will tell you. And hence, it needs more sound. That's why drums will come. You know, people will say, sir, why don't you add some keyboard in here? Because the space is filled with that sound. Though it is totally destructive to Carnatic music, many concerts today have this keyboard fellow. Because the audience is not able to deal with silence. I am also not able to deal with silence. Can I be in a room alone without looking at my cell phone for even 5 minutes? No, I can't. Because I'm losing the ability. So this is, I'm just observing. I'm not commenting or judging anybody. I'm judging myself first. Our ability to be with less sound and more subtle sound is decreasing. We want more volume, more texture in the sound, and more. That's why the format, which, for example, this vocal and instrumental with tawil accompaniment. So this tawil provides a lot of big sound, you know. Though it has no shruti content, actually it is, but it provides the volume. Or having mridangam and the tabla. These are all formats which are going to increase. Or having mridangam and tawil. Or having two mridangams. You know, accompaniments. These are all changing. So
This is
this is also in response to
hazardous.
Yeah.
But these changes are hazardous to the voice, however good the PA system is, you know, because the collective sound,
Oh, really?
you know,
Okay.
the normal tendency
Yes.
is to increase the volume.
Yeah.
However good the system is.
But see, the artist, when he's changing, feels that this is something which he has to do for his current survival. He is less
Right.
bothered about the future of his voice,
Yeah.
but more to do with how can I be current? Because I'm telling you, the fact of life is that is what prompts the change. How can I survive this year? he knows he or she is intelligent to think that I should not accept 25 concerts in 1 month. He knows that. But he knows also that if I don't accept these 25 concerts next year, will they call me for the same concert? That fear, survival mechanism, in the artist is what prompts many of these things. I'm sure many of the lady artists don't like to go and buy matching saris, the duet artists. You have seen duet artists, the body is one color and the border will be another color. And the other duet member will have the exact opposite. I observe all these things, whether it's good or bad, I don't know. And they will have, I know of many duet singers, female singers who will go and specially order these things because they realize that this is important for a concert. It's a visual medium. And there's nothing wrong with it either. I will feel a sense of loss if Shankarabharanam gets little mediocre. This also you can do. But if the sadhana gets little, compromised, then it is a loss. Otherwise, it's an enhancement. Correct? I'm not commenting upon the ways in which we respond to it being a visual art now. I'm just saying that if the nada part of it, if the art part of it, the musical part of it gets compromised, then I will feel a sense of loss. But I can only feel it because the change will happen anyways. Because like I said, change is the only permanent thing. All artists will have to respond and react to all these changing phenomena of presenting Carnatic music. And as long as it survives and a lot of people, derive benefit and enjoyment and rasikatvam, and I think it's all fine. It's all valid. Whatever change happens, we have to accept it with grace. I think that is the bottom line. Yeah. So Shyamala ji, you want to add something or? Yeah, Raju Garu.
Sriram Garu, thank you very much, sir. That's wonderful. We don't know how this 90 minutes have passed. A lot of great insights in this ever-changing trends in the Carnatic music concert. So wonderful, to hear you and Saroja Garu and Shyamala Garu talk about this topic. So I would request, if RS Amma wants to say anything or Pappu sir wants to say anything, or anybody who is attending the webinar today, if you have to share your thoughts or any questions you have for the panel, please do so. Unmute yourself and, or raise your hand so that way we can let you speak. So let us take a few questions or comments, and then we can conclude this. Thank you again, sir. Sriram Garu, Saroja Garu, and Shyamala Garu. Wonderful insights.
I have thoroughly enjoyed sharing this morning with Saroja ji and Shyamala ji, because the kind of insights that they brought into were fantastic. I learned so much. So thank you, Saroja ji. Thank you, Shyamala
Thank
ji.
you, Sriram
for
ji.
the
Thank you.
wonderful-
Thank you, Saroja ji.
Be along
Yeah.
with you
Very
people.
nice.
Thank you for making
Thank
me
you.
part of this session. Blessed.
If
Thank you,
I
Sriram.
kept reminding myself, thank you, Pappu ji. If I kept
Thank you,
reminding myself that
Sriram.
Pappu ji and RSJ ma'am are here, I would not have spoken so much.
No, it's good to forget certain things, certain times. Thank you very much, Sriram, Shyamala, and Saroja. Wonderful presentation. There are 2-3 things that they have not touched upon dealing with this topic. Maybe they felt delicate in some areas, probably. One is compromise in Sahityam in the concert format nowadays. The second one is regional variations in concert. Your concert depends on where you are performing.
Yeah.
And the third one they did not touch upon at all is supporting singers in a concert. See, the main singer is there. There are 2 or 3 people or one person always constantly singing along with that. From the times of MS Subbulakshmi, we know this. There is a supporting singer. And as you grow older, you either ask your son or your daughter or disciple to support along with you. And I remember very distinctly, Sriramji's Guruji, S.R. Janakiraman called me once when I was secretary of the Music Academy and told me, sir, there are 2 பேர் 3 பேர் வச்சுட்டு பாடுறாங்க சார் எல்லாருமே, I will sing alone. Why don't you give me a concert? அப்படின்னு கேட்டார். He asked me, there are 2 people, 3 people singing behind some singers that you are giving them chance every year after year, whereas you have not given me chance for 4 or 5 years, I can sing alone. That is his contention. Now, these are the 3 areas. Compromise in Sahityam is a very neglected area for discussion. I don't know why. My Guruji is known because of his clarity in Sahityam and clarity in Sangeeta. And another thing that we are influenced by, when Saroja gave the Javali and Padams are not being sung, that is the reason why I published a bunch of Javalis with notations, but nothing. There was no impact. Probably the impact is very little, because Javalis are easier to sing. Padams are very tough. And I don't know why people like Saroja should not have said Payyada, should have said Ayyayo Vagatayan. That is the Pallavi. The tradition of singing with Anupallavi is in Tamil Nadu, not in Andhra.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, very true.
It's very, very good presentation. And see, there are some artists who bring their own sound system for a concert. There is one particular artist, I don't want to name him, a very huge film personality who is also a singer on the concert. He used to bring his own sound system, and we did not allow him at the Music Academy when I was secretary. And from then on, he has no chance in the Music Academy till now. So these are some of the nuances. It's very good to hear Shyamala talking about, how the days of microphone, sound systems, technology have changed the concert form. I was told when Adibhatta Narayanadas used to sing, they used to hear it from 2 miles away from the concert place without microphone. Whether it's an exaggeration or whatever it is, but still they used to have that high pitch and how high open mouth concert. Whereas you now have, as very, very adeptly, efficiently mentioned, subtly mentioned, and clearly mentioned, frankly mentioned by both Sriram and Shyamala, how manipulation of voice takes place in the concert platform. So this is a very interesting topic. It's an endless topic. We have made some very interesting input. Thank you wonderfully. Thank you very much for presenting this wonderfully. We are proud that you are all faculty members of the University of Silicon Department of Music.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
If I
much.
may just
Papu, sir.
if I may just respond to one thing that Papu sir said.
Please.
Today the musician, the singer, is forced to deal with hundreds of compositions, and hence that could be one of the reasons why Sahitya gets compromised. Because Samangudi Srinivasa here could survive with his entire musical journey with 50 to 100 compositions. Because the number of concerts were less, and like you said, today if I am singing in Bangalore, I have to know so many Dasar Padas, so many Vachanas, everything, because it has to cater to that particular region specific, linguistic specific. And I have to know all kinds of things. There was a concert tour of the US of a very leading singer about 15 years back. And that's when all these handheld recorders, today everybody records on the phone, correct? Even in a concert. So he couldn't repeat any item, because if he repeated one item, the others will say, no, I heard your Chicago concert recording. So why are you singing the same thing here also in, say, San Francisco or whatever? So the number of compositions that an artist is forced to learn, if he has to be in currency, is much more, is 10 times. I can very clearly say that the artist of today, the singer of today, knows 10 times the compositions than a great stalwart of the previous generation. This is an objective fact. And hence, the Sahitya could be compromised because of that. Because the mind is the same, the ability of the brain is the same. That's why we also keep our book for recollection of Sahitya in front of us in a concert, or in or in the notebook or on the laptop or whatever. In the concert, it has become very common. If you see, many of the artists keep the book with them on stage. There might be an opinion that that is not correct, but correct or not correct, that is the only way to survive. If you want to suddenly somebody will ask, sing this composition.
Now
And then
you don't
if
have
you know the
now you
composition, you
don't
can
have
always.
a book. You have an iPad in front of you.
Yeah, iPad or whatever. Yeah. You can scroll to that page. Otherwise, I'll have to keep hunting for page 62 of where that composition is written down. So yeah, so these are all the changes. Yeah, and hence Sahitya gets compromised.
Thank you, sir. So. There is sorry to interrupt. There is a question from Dr. Yashoda Garu, our department chair from Kuchipudi Dance Department at University of Silkanandra. Yashoda Garu, please unmute yourself and ask, madam.
Thank you, Raju Garu, and thank you very much for this webinar. Saroja and Shyam have really brought out some sensitive issues which raise so many questions and touched upon a very sensitive nerve, But Sriramji, just to address the point where you said today's singer needs to know so many compositions, maybe it's because today's Carnatic singer has taken upon himself or herself the onus of singing all the indigenous forms or the forms that are all the music that is actually sung by those people of particular areas.
Yes,
so
yes.
Because one person wants to be 100 people all in one.
Yes, maybe absolutely.
They should be allowed to sing their own music too, and then you can kind of relieve yourself and limit yourself and gain your expertise in one area.
Yeah. That's because of an exceptional amount of, I will not blame the artist, but I will say it is his or her response to the general insecurity that pervades.
Yeah, so that needs to be addressed basically,
yes,
from that point. Yeah.
But how do you address it, Yashojaji? Greed and insecurity are not addressed just by.
Exactly. So when the question for that comes up, I think it takes a lot of guts, but you need to say, for a Dasarapadam, I think you should actually call them for the authentic music to be presented to you. That way they get their livelihood, you get the right music, and we also don't have to do this whole circus of learning 100 things.
Absolutely. But the idea of learning new repertoire is part of the fabric of Carnatic music.
True.
In the sense you're always.
You don't have to own it.
No, for example, you look at how MLV Amma introduced Purandaradasa Kritis to Tamil Nadu. She tuned about 15-20 of them, and she worked very hard at making it popular. So there is a positive side also to this greed, so-called artistic greed of wanting to do new things.
Right.
Yes, okay. It is appropriation in a way, because today an abhang also you want to sing, it is an appropriation, and many times the words are compromised and everything is wrong about it if you know Marathi. So, but still that the urge to do new things and to appropriate other repertoire is very true. There are people who sing Hindustani ragas and set tilanas and all that, which may not be very holistic. But then they know that if they say Tilana and Lalit, which is a Hindustani raga, oh, this artist also knows Hindustani. So that the need to outdo and this competition that both Shyamala ji and Saroja ji mentioned is the prodding kind of the what is it called? The Mahout uses that, I forget, to prod the elephant. So it's constantly prodding you to learn new things and to outdo somebody else.
Thank you, sir. We have a question or a comment from TKL Sujata Garu. Sujata Garu, please go ahead.
Yeah, namaste everyone. Very happy to be a part of this webinar. It's really very useful and very insightful comments and suggestions from everybody. I have it's not a question even, I have a uh, request that there is a trend in the concerts nowadays regarding the items, where which item should follow the which item. There is a changing trend that Varnam is sung in the middle of the concert and starting with a ragam and taking Swarajati as a main item of the concert. So I should just take some opinion about you, whoever it may be. So what about your opinion regarding
Saroja
the
Garu,
change
this
in the
question is
trend?
for you.
I just would like Sriramji to say about this.
Okay.
Of course, I have my opinion, but I would like to listen to his.
I just wanted to, in a lighter note, Sujata Garu is sister of Saroja Garu.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so anyway, go ahead, Sriram Garu, please.
The need to be different, just for the sake of being different, is one of the impulses today. You need not believe in your innovation. You just need to innovate because it will make news. So the need to put Varnam in the center of the concert as the main piece is not backed by conviction, artistic conviction. There are no reasons. It is just because you'll talk about it. We are talking about it right now, right? So the artist who has done this, move, who has made this move, has succeeded. So the need is to grab attention. So this particular artist, it's not become a trend yet. I don't think it has become a trend. The concert format that Sri Ariyakudi Ramanuja Iyengar established is still mainly the main. We are still following that, correct? Though there are aberrations here and there, people who have, for example, M.D. Ramanathan was an artist who believed that this was stifling the music, the format of this Varnam and the Vinayagar Kriti and the fast Kandachaputala, that format of a sub-main and a main, etc., was stifling his artistic instincts. So he decided to do away with it. That was backed by an artistic reason. Today, somebody will come and say, Tyagaraja was insecure, or his compositions are reeking of Brahmanism. All that is choosing to sing the Alapana after the Kirti. All those things are parts of the instinct to grab attention. I don't think we should pay much attention to that. I will not call it a changing trend.
So the
I will call it
reason
as a
for,
personal.
finally, the reason for any change in the trends, also all these things boil down to maybe the intent. What is the intention?
Yes.
So
Yes, yes.
the intention in terms of the commercialization, the commercial aspects. So a lot of things have changed from yesteryears to now. So it's
Yeah,
the intent mainly that has brought
Yes.
all these changes.
Some changes
Thank
are
you.
within the
Final
system
say.
from within as an organic thing. Sometimes it is an imposed one. Sometimes it's a consciously invoked, intended to change. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Sriram Garu and Saroja
Thank
Garu.
you, Sriramji.
Okay. Any more
Yeah,
questions
yeah.
or comments? We can probably take one more. We are actually 15-20 minutes beyond the time that's stipulated for this, but that is fine. It's a wonderful conversation. We are all loving it. So we will stay for a few more minutes. And if there is anyone who has any comments, questions,
RSJ ma'am.
RSJ ma'am, your blessings.
Yeah, we need your blessings.
Really, it is a wonderful topic and discussed very well by all the three. I just suggest one more thing to cover in this thing is the duration of a concert. In olden days, it is more than 3 hours. Now it is 1 hour for even a Sangeeta Kalamati. Not in Sabhas, I am saying about the online concerts. So the time restriction made, it is also a change in the concert format. Just I want to share.
Yeah, it has become like cricket, madam. 5 days test match to 2020. Concerts gone from 5 days to 1 day to 2020 match.
Exactly.
So in 2020 match, we are seeing so many sixers. Like that now we are seeing so many other ragas like North Indian ragas and so many composers.
Yeah.
In olden days, within the 3 hours, they used to sing only one Pallavi. Whether it is correct or not or interesting, that is, these are all different things. But this is the trend.
Yes.
In olden days, for 3 hours, they will manage with a single piece. Now we are managing.
It's due to change of the mindset.
Hmm.
I think it's like I said, the attention span has gone down.
No, is it because of the artist or because of the audience? Like the
Both,
film.
I would say.
In olden
Yeah.
days, all movies
Yeah,
are
like-
family background music. Now all are that, what do you say, that rowdyism is a forced coming first in the film. Is it because of the audience or the directors? Like that, the trend changed because, is it because of the artist or the audience? See, Brinda Mukrama, I am not
Attention
supporting-
span. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
Yeah,
not
go ahead, ma'am.
against to them, but they stick on to their style as well as the padanda. What do you say, that the compositions, what they want to play, they never compromise.
Very honestly, they wouldn't have survived today. It is my humble opinion that a Brindama, Muktama could not have survived today. Because today the attention span of the listener, they survive today. Yeah, so it's nothing good or bad. I'm just observing that an M.D. Ramanathan, a Brindama, many of these artists, and Amir Khan Saab of Hindustani music would not have survived today because he used to sing Vilambit for 1.5 hours. Nobody is going to listen to Vilambit today for 1.5 hours. Correct? Or in one raga. Today, if you sing 3 hour, ma'am, like ma'am was saying, one Pallavi for 3 hours, just you and maybe your family members will be there in the audience. Everybody else would have gone home.
But the changes happen.
Yeah.
Like,
So the attention span has gone down. The attention span has gone down. And that is reflected in all fields of human activity. Attention span has gone down. You know, and the thrill seeking, we are becoming more thrill seeking. We are not happy with just being ourselves and enjoying the moment. We want thrill to fill a certain vacuum in our consciousness. So that's why music also responds to that. Because face it, when we talk about concert music, it is a profession where the artist is seeking to succeed and to do well. So if he doesn't respond to changing mindsets, it is a marketplace. Like how a toothpaste has to be marketed in different ways. Every 5 days he will say new and revised, or he will change the color of the packaging. Correct? It's the same damn thing inside, but the packaging has to be changed again and again. So similarly, the artist also feels the need to repackage, to make changes here and there to make it more appealing to the common man, because he doesn't have an avenue to teach the common man or to bring him up. That is not happening. It's better that the artist descend to that level of lesser attention span and providing his need for thrill. So these two things have taken over. That's all.
So thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And so we talked about the changes, the trends that are happening and the causes for it. Whoever the cause could be, I know Sriram Garu several times you said, we are observing the changes and the trends, and then, what is driving these changes and trends. So we will conclude, probably with this question to the people here. As gurus and as scholars, as artists, is there a role for us to play or should we just be observing people, or is there a role for us to play? Maybe, bring this back to some kind of a structure, and then what can be done, what cannot be done. I know this is an art form. I don't think there should be any boundaries that should be developed or set up. Otherwise, there is no progress, So I'm not sure, do we continue to have these changes happen, or do we put some guidelines and structure back into it? I do not know. I don't know which way is the right way. So we will let you think through that. And then if anything you want to share, you could share. And then we could probably conclude after this. Thank you.
I would like RSJ ma'am to respond to this because it's a very important question. Because RSJ ma'am straddles the very traditional, because she has heard and she has been part of the practice of concerts for the last 60-70 years, And at the same time, she is grooming her very talented granddaughter. Correct? So she straddles both the time spaces. So RSJ ma'am, and she also is the teacher of her granddaughter. So how she will answer this question, I'm looking forward to.
Really, it is a tough question. But what I said is, for example, if you take Sampada Sabha, it's a Sabha organized by Silicanandra University. You can give concerts to the person who is very, to some extent, traditional. This is my opinion. Now, I am not saying nothing should come apart from the traditional songs. It should be not give. See, today, just I'm saying one example. Raham Tanam Pallavi, even in Music Academy, is sung for 13 to 15 minutes. Raham Tanam Pallavi, Kalpana Swaram, everything is what do you say that filled within 15 minutes. Is it the development of Carnatic music? So what we can do is, you have to select the artist and you present it continuously. The audience will develop their knowledge to enjoy that music. So we can revive. I am not against to any new trend. Though I am 70-year-old and I brought up in that way, my granddaughter is now entering in Carnatic concert field. So we have to adjust to all these things. I am teaching her all the new songs, even bhajan, everything. But it is impossible to play everything on veena. See, the voice, everything, the style matters. We can't adopt everything, whatever we want to present. If it suits to our voice, then we will survive. Otherwise, the single 1 or 2 chances will, what do you say, we will lose that chances also. So according to our style, voice, and stage where we are performing, according to that, we have to plan our, what do you say, that concert.
Concert. Yeah.
Even once Maharajapuram Santanam in interview said, you want to listen my real music, come to my house. On the stage, this is only business. I have to go along with the audience. I can't go up, what do you say, against that. So if you want to hear my original music, come to my house. Like that, he himself said. He is very busy in his days. So then what for us? We don't know what we have to do. So the Sabhas will take care of this, the sponsors. The sponsors are responsibility for that. Classify the concerts. Pure classical, if it is really good. See, today, what do you say, that Muktamma's music is all over the world heard in WhatsApp. In olden days, it is not recognized by all. Now, especially in US, I came to know all the students who are learning music when they are driving on the car, they are listening only Brinda Muktamma music. This is my news. I don't know really what is happening there. But so the real music will definitely survive long. No Bimplas or anything compromise Sahana. This is my final saying. Thank you.
Thank you, R.S. Jayamma. So with that, we will conclude the webinar today. Thank you everyone for joining. University of Silicanandra is an American university focusing on Indian fine arts and languages. So we offer certificate, diploma, and master's programs. As you have seen, we have an amazing faculty. And from the coming semester in August, we are also starting Veena and violin specializations in Carnatic music department. More details are available on our website. Please go there, take a look at it. If you have any questions, you want to reach out to us, please write to admissions@universityofsilicanandra.org. Please spread the word and share this information with others who might be able to benefit from these programs. Thank you and have a nice day for our wonderful faculty back in India, and a good evening to everyone joining here from America. Thank you. Namaskaram.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskaram.